have found through conversations with people that this particular plant, which is, it could be called Manglier, any number of different ways. It is pronounced in different ways in different places. But I have found information about it from Native Americans of various tribal groups, from the Cajuns, from Creoles of color, from African Americans, Islanos, and other Spanish people of heritage, and other residents in Louisiana. So for whatever and however that happened, the knowledge of this plant in Louisiana is just interesting to me, is that the knowledge of it crossed racial boundaries, it crossed linguistic boundaries at some point, early point, so that the knowledge of this plant disseminated throughout a wide area in Louisiana. Outside of Louisiana, I don't know. I'd like to know if they use it in Mississippi, but I've never heard of it. So maybe in Texas, I don't know. But anyway, so you can see a geography also, you know, of this kind of knowledge, perhaps. And that's interesting to me. Here is a source that we found to be very useful. It comes from a thesis that the primary purpose of the thesis was linguistic. So this person, Charles Gambonu, was collecting words in Creole French for a degree in Romance philology. He wasn't a biochemist. He wasn't even interested in botany. He wasn't, and he did no interpretation on what he collected, but he was collecting the words. And what he collected was 500 different remedies, folk remedies, in a certain area along the Bayou Teche, all in Creole French. Well, 8 of those remedies were about this plant. And so it's very interesting to us, and it seems like raw data, you know, coming out of the language, you know, for someone like me. At any rate, all of the remedies seem to be mostly about cases where congestion has occurred. And so they needed to remove something that was a result of some inflammation that had caused either bronchitis, flu, cold, something on the chest, and that this plant was grown, and a tea was made from it. That was typical. Also fever. It would reduce fever, and a variety of fevers. So there were some fevers that in French they called slow fever or long fevers. You know, they would not be intense perhaps, but they would carry on and would hard to get rid of them. Perhaps it was malaria. And, you know, malaria has that kind of symptom. And so this is the kind of use that this plant would most often apply to. The issue is that what I could talk, you know, probably for days about the process. But we call it the folk process, where knowledge is disseminated, is passed on from generation to generation. We think of it as a normal cultural kind of process, and that's important stuff, you know. But something got in the way of that process, especially during the 20th century, and you know, going forward, to the point that the folk process, perhaps, and language was a big part of it, because the children of these people who know a great deal about nature and who spoke Creole or Cajun or some other language did not pass their language on to the next generation. And thus, they did not pass the knowledge about nature on to them as well. So there was, now, at the same time, we have a lot of descendants of people who were great, very knowledgeable about these traditions, and their